Hey yo, what is up everybody? Trail here from Trail Plays Reborn, and welcome to another video. Today's video we're going to be doing yet another zoology course from the LOA College. And I'm really excited to get into it, so let's waste no time and get right to starting this video. Hello class, and welcome back to Zoology 101. According to one of our many parents whose kids come to this prestigious institute, I am no longer allowed to teach about, and I quote, fairy tales from days of old. So we will be speaking about more quote-unquote practical things, such as demons. Yes, it was Tommy's mother. How did you guess? I'm not allowed to say my thoughts on the matter. However, that will not stop me from teaching you about some of the more worrying creatures in the world. Let's start right away with what we are going into today's class, Lesser Mimics. Lesser Mimics, also known as nameless mimics, have no names, as, well, their quote-unquote scientific name would suggest. However, they have the innate ability to move their magical core, which, if you do not know, only two other entities share. If you guys can tell me which ones those are, extra credits on the final. And they can move that core into separate objects, because as we all know, lesser mimics have the innate ability to split and transform into multiple items at once. This makes them nearly impossible to truly kill, as you never know what items they might be, and even more, which item their core will be in. Therefore, when hearing of a lesser mimic infestation, it is better to do what? Burn down the buildings. Yes, correct. At least we have one person with common sense here. While this lowers their total magical energy to continue fighting, this is likely their greatest strength. Why is this their greatest strength, you might be wondering? The reason this is likely their greatest strength is due to the fact that all mimics, not just lesser ones, all mimics, including true ones, are known as lesser demons. Lesser demons have the ability to control magic. However, mimics are made of multiple dead souls. And as we all know, having multiple souls makes you a what? An amalgam, yes. However, mimics do not have the ability to focus these souls. True mimics have the ability to focus on one soul at a time, however lesser mimics do not, therefore giving them the ability to split into multiple items, all with magical properties. Ask your arcane items teacher about it, if you have that class, And he will tell you that lesser mimics make some of the most valuable items in the world because they all have different magical properties. So you might find a mimic charading around as an ice sword, and then it's also charading around as a flaming axe. Truly, we don't know much about lesser mimics, but what we do know more about is true mimics, which I will be getting into later. Some of the things that we are working on is, well, locating new lesser mimics to experiment on, because every time we've attempted to experiment, they've always moved their core, and therefore we lose a bunch of data. Why would we do that? Oh, simple. If we can figure out how to, well, master usage of a mimic core, we can create artificial mimics. Yes, that would be akin to heresy, but the difference is we aren't abusing life creation magic, we are simply taking demons which already exist and experimenting to use them for military gain. Oh, you're wondering if that could have consequences for the future. Oh, most definitely. However, I don't think the military cares that much. Personally, I think the military cares more about weapons and winning the war with Braculia than they care about the consequences of their actions, which will absolutely occur in the near future. And I suppose with that we should get into the next topic, greater mimics. Greater mimics, unlike lesser mimics, cannot split. However, they have the innate ability to transform into living creatures. How does that work? Well, greater mimics have a much higher magical potential than lesser mimics, and they can focus on the soul which they use. As they focus on the soul, they transform into it, and therefore their core is also morphed into their, well, into the heart of the creature. Meaning, if you are to encounter a mage that you've met before and they don't sound quite the same, what should you assume? No, not that they're a mimic. First, you need to ask if they're sick, and if they say no, then you assume they're a mimic. But if you see a wizard with a different elemental affinity, when you just recently saw them in a prayer group, then you assume that's a mimic. Yes, very good. Would you look at that? I think we are out of time for now. I do hope you all enjoyed class, and you have an essay on mimics due by not next class, but the class after. You have 2 weeks. Everyone enjoy! And class dismissed. Hey everyone, Trail here from Trail Plays Reborn, and if you guys didn't know, we have a Ko-Fi. If you guys want to see videos a week before they're, well, released, or you guys want to get exclusive content such as blooper reels, or songs from yours truly, please consider joining. It's only $1 to, I think, $10 a month, and you can stop supporting us whenever we get stale, or whenever you don't, or whenever you want. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and, well, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!